Now I filmed an entirely different video to put out on my channel today, but that's gone in the bin because some huge breaking news has absolutely superseded it. And I am of course talking about the fact that Alexander Isak has asked Newcastle to be allowed to explore the opportunity to maybe leave the club amid huge Liverpool interest this summer. Now I don't generally cover other people's stories on this channel. I try and use my own reporting where possible, but the fact is, this is just too big a story to ignore, isn't it? And what I want to do is take a look at the story itself from Craig Hope in the Daily Mail, a great exclusive from a Newcastle reporter there, but also add my own kind of slant on it and what I understand from the Liverpool end to give us a better picture of where things are up to in terms of this potential transfer. And I have to say, as a starting point, the signs were there, weren't they, that something big around Alexander Isak was going to come out today when he wasn't included on the travelling party to go out to Singapore for their pre-season tour. Now, the Newcastle excuse or reasoning behind that was that he was suffering with a thigh injury and they want to manage him through that. But we have seen reports in recent days that that thigh injury that he's currently nursing, the one that forced him to miss out on a pre-season friendly at Celtic, had shown up clear on scans, so nothing too severe there in terms of the injury. And you have to say that is very reminiscent, isn't it, of a certain back injury that Philippe Coutinho suffered a few summers ago when Barcelona was sniffing around him. Now, clearly Isak, it just looked, didn't it, from the surface that his head had been turned and this thigh injury was being turned into something more, being used as an excuse for him not to be involved in Newcastle's tour. And I think we're seeing further evidence of that now with this story coming out in the Daily Mail today. And it is worth saying, actually, in terms of that Coutinho comparison, that Newcastle do have the option to do what Liverpool did at that time. It gets forgotten now, but Liverpool did dig their heels in that summer. They didn't make that sale until the January, and that is an option that's available to Newcastle. They may want to make a statement that, look, we can't be bullied by a supposedly bigger club. We can't be forced to sell our best player, particularly when he's got 3 years still remaining on his contract. We want to take him into the Champions League. We want to be there, and we want to challenge for major trophies again next season. But the fact that Liverpool do retain an interest, and it's very much my understanding that they do, despite the fact that they've just got a big money deal for Hugo Ekitike over the line, that puts a little bit of pressure on Newcastle, doesn't it, ultimately? And I think, you know, it's maybe surprising that Liverpool retain that interest after signing Ekitike. I mean, how do you fit it all in together? Who plays, who's on the bench? And we were saying to ourselves, weren't we, I don't quite understand how Newcastle are trying to keep Isak but also sign Ekitike. How would that work? Well, apparently it would work for Liverpool because that's what they're planning. But let's say, look, they had 6 forward frontline options, senior options last season, and they're going to be down a few, aren't they? Particularly if Núñez, Diaz and Chiesa also leave the club, which is a big possibility in the coming weeks. So a signing like Isak, I guess you could quite easily justify that he would, you know, there are enough minutes for everybody else there to be absolutely happy, even if you make a signing of this calibre. And as I say, that puts a pressure on Newcastle because they know Liverpool are there waiting in the wings. But I think a really interesting line in the reporting that's just come out in that they don't want to sell him. They're absolutely against selling him unless it's for a bid that's in the region of £150 million. Now that, I think, is a clear softening of the Newcastle stance, isn't it? We've seen, you know, before the summer, once they got Champions League qualification, very, very kind of firm in the stance. He's not for sale. There's absolutely no way we would consider a sale now. He's got 3 years of contract left. We've got Champions League money. We've just won a trophy. It's not something we're looking at. But that has just started to soften, hasn't it? Wouldn't sell him for until it's 150 million, and now it's bids in the region of 150 million. So I feel like their stance is softening now. The key is still, and it has been the key for a few weeks now, is whether Newcastle do give the official green light to Liverpool to begin talks. They know Liverpool are waiting there. They just have to put the phone call in to start talks over the player. So that is absolutely key here. But I still think there's real chance that happens now going forward. The player has indicated a desire to leave or at least explore the opportunity. And Newcastle, you have to say, they haven't been having a very good transfer window, have they? I mean, they missed out on João Pedro to Chelsea, Liam Delap to Chelsea. Then they tried for Hugo Ekitike as a result of missing out on those and were foiled because he only wanted Liverpool. They struggled to get a deal over the line for James Trafford, the goalkeeper. And now, of course, Manchester City are interested. So you look at all that you start to think in terms of a footballing decision, not about making statements about whether you keep hold of your star striker and that you won't be bullied by big clubs, but in a pure footballing decision, does it make more sense to cash in now? Now, Liverpool came to that realisation with Coutinho a little bit later, didn't they? It took them a few months to get to the January window. They could line up Van Dijk and they could sell Coutinho, and they thought that was the right decision for them, and ultimately it absolutely proved to be so, because Liverpool went on to be a dominant force. But you wonder, are Newcastle having those thoughts now? And I think, maybe you could make a strong argument from a football perspective. It would make sense to make that sale, because they need to cement themselves as a Champions League club. If they can get top 4 for the next 3 or 4 years, that money's continually rolling in. You can keep building. That's how you become a challenger. And one way as well to kind of plug the gap and make sure you get there quicker is to make a sizable sale, as Liverpool did with Coutinho. I know we joke about the Coutinho money lasting forever, but genuinely, it signed them Van Dijk, it signed them Alisson, and they were game changers for Liverpool. They took them from being a side that was in and around the top 4 to a side that consistently challenged for the Premier League title. So maybe that is the decision that Newcastle have to make now, is whether they cash in and do that or not. As I say, it's up to them now. The ball is in their court to give the green light to Liverpool, and if they do, Liverpool will be waiting in the wings to smash the British transfer record and put in a bid for Isak, because they believe, similarly to Van Dijk and Alisson, he is a game-changing signing. So they are waiting for that green light, but we have to see what happens with Newcastle and whether they make that footballing decision to sell. So a lot in the air still, but it does feel like the things are moving in a certain direction, doesn't it? And that direction seems to be Liverpool ending up signing Alexander Isak. So let me know your thoughts on all that in the comments. It's been an absolutely crazy window so far, and it could be about to get even crazier, couldn't it, with a big signing like Alexander Isak? Let me know your thoughts on the possibility of that and how excited you are about that possibility. And any Newcastle fans watching, what do you think about this? Do you think it will be smart to sell now you've got a player who maybe wants out, or should you keep hold of him? Do let me know your thoughts on that. And of course, if you can like, subscribe and join me on TikTok, if you like these updates in a short format, then please do at David Lynch LFC, and I'll see you guys very soon.